Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to UX, and this is US Apache went down near Iran, and a drone boat did the impossible. Why did Apache went down? Why didn't this make the news? Or did I just miss it? I don't know. US Army AH-64 Apache went down in the Strait of Hormuz off the coast of Oman. Both crew members were rescued within about 2 hours by US Navy unmanned surface vessel. Was it shot down by manpad or something? Or was it some kind of a technical error? I don't know. It's going to be interesting because F-15 was shot down and there was a massive rescue mission. I guess that was not the same thing with the Apache. Why is Apache in the Strait of Hormuz? It's from the Air Force, right? Army, Air Force, whatever. Not Navy. Navy would use Seahawk or something like that. So, or do they use Apache? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's like Air Force, right? So why was it there? I mean, it could have been shot down, I'm guessing. Obviously, Max will tell us, but I don't know. Let's do this one.
26 and just yesterday evening over the Strait of Hormuz, just after dark, an American AH-64 Apache gunship, one of the most lethal attack helicopters ever built, highly capable, basically like the fighter jet of helicopters, dropped out of the sky and into the Persian Gulf off the coast of Oman. 2 U.S. Army aviators in the water at night inside the most dangerous 20 miles of salt water on the planet right now, with the Iranian coastline close enough to see. And Tehran had already set the tone. They're going to claim it was a shoot down, as they do, but I'm going to get into all of
I was about to say that. I mean, how fast will it take for Iran to be like, yeah, we shot it down. We definitely shot it down. Yeah.
this throughout the video. But coming to the rescue was something you wouldn't expect. A U.S. Navy robot drone boat from Task Force 59 is responsible for finding this crew and helping them get home safely. This is the first time in history, in recorded history, that this has ever happened. This is massive, and we're going to get into that full operation throughout this video. But Iran is now vowing that they will defeat the American blockade. Their newest stunt is the so-called Persian Gulf Strait Authority, claiming the choke point sits under their guns, and this Apache crash is something that they're using to try to show that they're actually shooting down U.S. aircraft in the Persian Gulf right now. However, to me, I think there's a little something else going on here, because remember, helicopters basically beat the air into submission to keep flying. So was it some maintenance issue? We're going to get into all of that. But when an Apache goes down into the water in the middle of the night, the question writes itself. Did the Gulf just bite back, or did Iran actually get a lucky shot off? Here's the answer that matters. Both crew members came home safe, stable, not a scratch. President Trump kept it simple. He said the pilots are fine, nobody's injured, and how we got them back is the part that just made military history. Because the United States didn't risk another helicopter to go towards that crash site, or another boat that needed to go there and transit through the dangerous Strait of Hormuz. It sent a robot boat. The checkpoint that moves roughly a fifth of the world's oil is basically being harassed right now.
I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. You Americans are already doing this in your cities. What is it, Waymo? What is it called? Right? It's basically automatic taxis that you call. It's already working. So like you're going to use that in military. Makes sense.
By Iran's Mosquito fleet, and a ceasefire is holding on by a thread. So we're going to talk about how that operation actually went down, and then we're going to do a global roundup. We're going to cover China shadowing a NATO warship, along with a couple other stories that you need to know. That's about 3/4 of the way through the video, so stay around for that.
Does bear crap in the woods? Yeah, China shadowing something, that's not a news. Yeah, it makes sense.
But let's rewind this, because the order of operations leading up to this Apache crash and rescue tell us basically the whole story. So if we rewind about 36 hours, the sequence here gets wild, because the first time since April 8th's ceasefire, Israel and Iran went back to trading blows, as they do. Iran put missiles towards Israel.
I told you, like Israel's gonna attack Iran. Did I not tell you? And yeah, of course they did that.
Sunday, that was its answer to Israeli strikes on Hezbollah in Beirut, and then Israel answered extremely decisively Monday with fire into western and central Iran, striking down one of the main petrochemical plants that actually creates chemicals for Iran's ballistic missiles. So the truce that we're all calling a ceasefire is basically falling apart like a NASCAR crash at this point, and everybody just can't help but look. But that was the backdrop. Now the incident, Monday evening.
Has the ceasefire fall down? Because I'm pretty sure Trump said maybe there's still a deal. So I'm guessing ceasefire is still there. I don't know. I don't know what does ceasefire even mean at this point.
A U.S. Army AH-64 Apache is patrolling regional waters off the coast of Oman near the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz. These aren't joyrides, obviously. Apaches are out there as part of the operation, keeping that checkpoint open and keeping Iranian oil bottled up. Mid-patrol, the aircraft goes down into the sea. United States Central Command confirmed the crew was recovered within about 2 hours. So they were there for 2 hours, which is just wild. Think about floating around in the Persian Gulf right now for 2 hours.
That is what they were doing stunts and shooting flares. That is what they were doing.
There's mines, there's underwater unmanned vehicles, the most contested sea lane on Earth right now. That was around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Both were recovered, though, in stable condition. The cause is under investigation. Could Iran have gotten a lucky shot off? Highly unlikely, especially because this Apache went down near Oman, which is on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz from Iran. So in my opinion, likely something mechanical. But U.S. officials are openly probing.
Yeah, but it could be very in Oman. It could be here, right? It must be from the Air Force, one of the bases. It could have been a direct shot from Iran, but so far Iran and Israel has attacked each other, sure, but would Iran point blank just attack Apache here? I don't know.
The one possibility that changes everything. Whether Iran fire brought it down, which is of course going to be looked into. Was the AH-64 engaging some fast attack craft? Was the AH-64 striking down some drones? Some of the shrapnel came off one of the drones and was ingested by one of the engines on the Apache. Lots of different things could be happening.
What are you talking about? How do you shoot a drone which is shrapnel comes towards a helicopter? A jet makes sense, it goes through it. Helicopter hovering there shooting down, it must be at a distance, not that close. So I don't know about that.
So that will all be investigated. So Iran spent the entire night last night promising that they were going to find this crew, have a decisive response to strike them. But the decisive response was actually a Navy robot boat and a 2-hour nice ride home at sunset. But how they pulled those 2 aviators out of the water without...
Hey, we need to save 2 of the pilots. And everybody's like, yeah, we all have like, I'm doing manicure. It's like, I'm like brushing my teeth right now. So we have no one? Fine, send in a drone. There you go. American flex.
Putting another American's lives in danger was pretty exceptional and wild. So picture the tactical problem. You've got a downed crew in open water after dark inside a strait ringed by IRGC fast attack craft, one-way attack drones, sea mines, shore-based anti-ship missiles. Every minute you put a manned rescue helicopter or a boat full of sailors over that water, you're not running one rescue, you're offering Iran potentially a second target, or at least something that they might try to harass. So in a normal war, you kind of eat that risk because there's no other way to get your people back. You're like, all right, well, we got to send people into Iran to get the F-15E Wizzo, but this time there was another way. So let's talk about why the Apache was even there in the first place, and that might give us a little more insight into what was going on during this rescue operation. Because remember, AH-64s and A-10s are there over the Strait of Hormuz right now, flying sorties to try to pry the Strait of Hormuz open, at least pry it open enough to where commercial shipping has a little bit of reassurance and they want to go back through the Strait of Hormuz. That's the big thing, is just reassure people that there's actually protection, which is hard to do when you've got 500 plus Mosquito Fleet boats, which is a...
Is that the reason? I don't know that would work though. Yeah, you have some protection, but then like protection would go away because that's how sorties work. And there is unpredictable nature. A lot of mosquito boats, as Max call it, right? Insurance rates are going to be higher and big cargo ships are not going to take a risk. So like, I don't think this helps in that way. I think this is just like an ongoing operation of blockade and like suppressing small boats as much as they can, put pressure on Iran. I think that's the goal here.
Smart tactic that Iran has enacted in the Strait of Hormuz. But the Apache is a tank hunter by trade, but over that water, it's basically a drone swatter. They should rename this thing the drone swatter, and it's a shipping guardian. It lives down low inside the threat envelope, exactly where the danger is. That's its job. And that's why obviously losing one of these things is a big deal. These are very valuable helicopters in this theater right now. But then enter Task Force 59. If you don't know that name yet, we're going to all learn it here very soon with this historic rescue operation. TF-59 is the Navy's dedicated unmanned and artificial intelligence task force run out of the 5th Fleet in Bahrain. The outfit that's been quietly seeding the Gulf with robotic boats, sensors for years. Think about the lamprey. That's that undersea leech that can actually latch onto submarines, boats, friendlies or hostiles, track them back to wherever they're going and hiding. It can sit on the seafloor and then come back to life whenever you need it to. I mean, just such a wild, capable system. And then the manta ray, more of an observer, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platform that can be out at sea for weeks, just hunting, watching, waiting for the right moment, passing intelligence. This Task Force 59 is likely the task force that's in charge of all of these, but it's...
Has this thing made it into military? Manta ray, the lamprey, these were concepts and prototypes. Did US military give out contracts like, yeah, give us this? Because I don't know. If that's the case, then yeah, they probably are using this. Equipments are made to use, and if you have them, war is the time to use it. So I'm guessing they must be using this. I don't know.
Also got something else in its quiver, a drone boat that's now in the water, and that's what found the crew. It brought them back to shore. For the first time, U.S. forces have ever run an aircrew water rescue with a maritime drone. This is the first time it's ever happened. 2 American soldiers pulled out of Iran's front yard. They basically have a swimming pool in their front yard, and this drone boat was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and take back what's ours. And the only thing the United States risked to do it was that metal hull and some code to get it to the right place at the right time. So the exact details of this system haven't been released, but this doctrine writes itself now with an unnamed...
I mean, it's not at the doorstep of Iran. Like he said at the start of the video, it's near Oman. That's why they probably send this drone and not the entire squad like they did with F-15. Because even in the Strait of Hormuz, if it's very close to Iran, they would probably send in the squad just to be safe. That was probably not the case here because there are patrols there. It's probably going to be fine, so they send the drone.
And rescue vehicle that can go out, track, use AI to track the soldiers that were floating out in the Persian Gulf, scoop them up and get them home. What if this gets added on to more airframes and now they're all teamed up, talking to each other? The drone...
It's just a Waymo for the water. Come on. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure soldiers are swimming there, taking out the smartphone. It's like, your ride is here, and you see that pulling up. Yeah, there you go.
Boat is talking to the lamprey is talking to the manta ray, and you basically have this incredible technology system that's basically pressing the enemy from all sides, and the enemy has no hope of not only downing a helicopter and trying to get the crew, but also trying to lay sea mines, run their mosquito fleet. So many different options now that Task Force 59 is in charge of as far as the robots and the code and the AI that has now entered the fight. So to me, this isn't like a small step. This is basically a doorway opening, and now we're going to get a flood of capabilities from drone boats, lampreys, manta rays, all teamed up and working together, and then pumping that information to targeting systems, to the Aegis system, everything tying in together. So Iran basically brought their mosquito fleet to try to find these downed aviators. The US brought a boat that drives itself, and they pulled 2 Americans out before the IRGC could even find their own dock. So now let's talk about the adversary pictured here and what Iran was likely using to try to find these aviators and what they still have left, because the Strait of Hormuz is lethal for low-flying helicopters in certain areas. Iran likely doesn't have a lot of capability near Oman. They reserve that for right next to their coastline, which is why they laid their minefield and they released maps to all the mariners showing that the minefield needed to drive all the different commercial vessels right up next to their coastline. So what that tells me is that Iran doesn't have a lot of capability near Oman, near that southern part, and they need all...
Now what this tells me is Oman needs to step up. Oman needs to put like bases here, constant surveillance and soldiers. So next time where IRGC decides, oh, we're gonna lay the mine, they blow it up. How the hell IRGC comes and drop mines in basically in your front yard? If this is such a chokehold, and this is how IRGC controls things. If you put mines here, obviously, well, all the boats are gonna go close to Iranian source. That's how they control it. Why is Oman not putting base here? Like put a naval base here or something with a lot of troops and systems. Just blow anything up that come close. Like make this like no military zone or something. Like any boat comes there which is not a commercial boat, blow it up. So this chokehold becomes much less of a problem.
All that traffic to go up near their own coastline, because the IRGC Navy, they run their swarm of fast attack boats, the Mosquito fleet, and those are built to overwhelm with numbers. That's their whole goal. So what if not only these boats can do rescues from Task Force 59, what if they're armed? What if there's the ability to put machine guns, directed energy weapons on these fast attack craft and basically fight fire with fire? Oh, cool, Iran, you're going to release your Mosquito fleet, your Mosquito swarm. Great, well, we're going to have our own Mosquito swarm, and they could be based in Oman, UAE, Qatar, different places along the opposing coast.
Don't say mosquito swarm, because the way America works, it might literally be mosquitoes, robotic mosquitoes. Google is already messing with certain mosquitoes, so like I won't be surprised if America makes robotic mosquitoes, right? Yeah, so USS mosquitoes will literally be mosquitoes.
Coastline. So as soon as Iran unleashes their fast attack boat swarm, somebody can just be like, oh, cool, all right, I'm on shift now. And they basically take control, and they're just sitting there like, yeah, let's go ahead and decimate this part of the fast attack swarm with these robot boats, and this part of the fast attack swarm with the Apache helicopter, and this part of the fast attack swarm with the A-10, just because the A-10's got the biggest crowd pleaser on the planet with that 30mm bullet there. But think about the capability of those drone boat operators to drive and control different robotic boat swarms to contest Iran. I mean, this might be the biggest development in the conflict so far, because obviously we know that the Trump administration is driving towards a deal. But do we think at the end of the day that Iran is just going to sit on their thumbs after a deal is made? Of course.
Is it biggest news? Because drone boats, like, yeah, people know US have them. Another element is they're like costlier compared to conventional boats. Problem here isn't like capabilities. America has a very vast spectrum of capabilities. America is trying to find cheapest way of doing it. Like if you have to use A-10 and it's cheaper, you're going to use A-10. Apache. Sure, you have drones, but if it costs more and there's a risk, if it blows up, that costs a lot, America's not going to use it. In rescue mission, it makes sense. But in any kind of attack thing, yeah, you're just going to use conventional things.
Of course not. The regime is going to continuously push and pressure and poke and try to retain control over the Strait of Hormuz, because that's a massive flow of cash for them. And remember, they've got an Ayatollah, Supreme Ayatollah, Majabta Khamenei. They've got these Western-facing puppets that are basically the supposed leaders that just do the bidding of the Ayatollah, and now doing the bidding of the IRGC, which the IRGC is going to want to extort as much money as possible out of the Strait of Hormuz. So that means keeping this mosquito swarm, these fast attack boat swarms, as their central strategy in the strait. So if we can counter that with a decisive deterrence force just sitting there waiting, now you unleash a mosquito robot fleet against Iran's fleet, and you've really got a strong bit of deterrence to keep any deal that goes into place on the table, because otherwise the deal could just be worthless and not even worth the paper that it's written on. And remember, Iran would have loved to—
I like his thing. Boat versus boat. Mosquito fleet versus mosquito fleet. It's like a movie scene. Like anime style, like, versus, screenplays, and Iran mosquito fleet versus American drone mosquito fleets fight. And a general walks in like, what the? We have A-10s and things. Why are you making this very Hollywoodish? Come on.
to gotten their hands on these army soldiers that went down in that Apache crash, because that would be bargaining chips for them at the table right now. So it can't be understated how strategic it is that this drone boat got there first and didn't allow Iran to get a propaganda win of trying to use these soldiers basically as chips in a high stakes negotiation betting game, trying to get a better deal. So at this point, I think it's pretty clear this boat is keeping up international relations. It's kind of like flipping that middle finger in Top Gun, just rolling up to the IRGC saying, hey guys, that's a cute mosquito swarm you have. Ours is controlled by robots. And that brings us to the global roundup, my friend. So this is a story you got to hear about. In the Taiwan Straits, half a world away, China's military tracked and shadowed a Dutch frigate, the De Ruyter, as it transited the Taiwan Strait. This is the latest in a pattern that ran more than 200 Chinese aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone last month alone. Taiwan answered by passing a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar special budget to buy American arms. So they're trying to get that deal done. They're trying to get those arms into the country because
now China's getting amplified for past 5 years. Who knows, maybe next 2 or so years they might even attack. You're passing budget now? Come on.
They see how much China is stepping it up in the Taiwan Strait. And this is just massive, because shadowing an adversary warship without firing is how you condition a battle space and you normalize control. And you show that, yeah, we can track everything going on here. So this is pressure disguised as routine. The next story I want to talk about are hypersonics. So this is the jet that could retire.
China does that a lot though, like trying to like shadow people. You look at it in Philippines, how they bully Philippines basically. Anything happens in India, or something, there's somehow there are commercial ship in Sri Lanka, apparently. China is known to do this.
The fighter pilot. Even though the F-47 is supposed to have the fighter pilot, DARPA and the Air Force are developing a reusable hypersonic strike aircraft designed to scream past Mach 5, punch through advanced defenses, hit the...
What is it called? Lockheed's... forgot the name. Lockheed Martin is working at a project, apparently. There was something named to it. I don't know, I forgot. Which is basically hypersonic craft or weapon of kind, right? 3-4 projects are learned, apparently, rumored to be underway. That's probably one of them.
Target, and then obviously be reusable over and over and over again. And it seems like there's a bit of a fight inside the Pentagon right now whether something like that, an unmanned version of that, should replace the crewed F-47 fighter entirely. So from my perspective, obviously I love the idea of keeping fighter pilots in the cockpit, but a platform that can outrun every defense and comes home to be reusable and can pull, 50 plus Gs because there's no person in it, I definitely think it's something we gotta look.
Dude, I'm never flying in a plane, commercial plane, that doesn't have a pilot in it. Even though there is a higher probability that computers might get it right and pilots would have a human error, I'm still not flying if computer is flying my plane. Similar thing will apply to like fighter jets. I don't think like Navy, Air Force, they're gonna trust computers that level. They will have people behind the plane. That's just gonna happen, right? I'm pretty sure like even the population will feel uneasy. If you say like, oh, we have AI-driven military plane, I think people already hate AI. I mean, look at today, today's world. How many, like AI hate is rising. So you probably will have two things together. You will still have F-47, it will have its job, and you will have something that is like unmanned. You'll have both. I don't see manned plane getting replaced anytime soon.
Look at, even if it's the F-47 actually up there controlling that other platform. And we made it to the 40 chess strategic analysis section, my friends, so let's talk about what's actually going on in Iranian leadership. They don't necessarily want that downed Apache, like they don't care about reverse engineering that, because remember, their whole goal is ballistic missiles, drones, and basically pressuring the Gulf neighbors without having a massive air force because of the maintenance demands, the training demands. They would rather just build a massive amount of drones and ballistic missiles and try to control the Strait of Hormuz. And obviously, the big kahuna would be building an actual nuclear weapon. That would give them the ultimate amount of ability to protect the regime in their minds. That's what they think. But at the end of the day, this robot boat shows them something that they might not have been expecting. They didn't really know that the US had robot boats operating in the Strait of Hormuz right now. So this is leverage, this is pressure. And again, if there can be a massive swarm of these
I mean, IRGC probably knows all the thing and all the information that is out there of what US has. So they're probably not surprised. And I don't know if it's about the messaging or what, because they're probably going to know, like, yeah, US probably will use whatever they have. This was never a 1v1 fight. It was never that. It's like level 1 versus level 50. It was never a fight. This is why Iran is doing everything else apart from going toe-to-toe with US military, because that's not even going to work. So none of this is ever going to surprise them, because they already know all these things.
robot boats just ready to go 24/7, ready to go from some of these islands that can just go out and attack the boat swarm of Iran. Just think about it. One of these robot boats locking on to 3, 4, 5 of the Mosquito fleets using directed energy weapons, torpedoes, machine guns to strike them down. That could be the countering force against Iran that the world has always...
I like how he's just like making a list of the, we could feed this, we could feed that. US military is like, yeah, we could do all that.
Is needed in Oman in the Strait of Hormuz, just unleashing these things from bunkers that are right along the coastline to go out and contest Iran might be something that's keeping the mullahs up at night. What do you guys think happens from here? Do you think we see a massive robot fleet that's used for not only rescue but for attack? Let me know in the comments below.
Nah, nothing new is gonna work like that. Not because they can't, it's because why would they? This is always the case. Why would they? Can they use all the F-35s and all the F-22s and all the other high-end thing US have to attack Iran? Yeah, but why would they? Everything else works. Tomahawk works. Conventional planes and things work. Apaches work. A-10 works. Sure, some of them time like they crash because of malfunction or whatever, but that happens. No drones and any futuristic things are gonna be perfect. They'll have that issue as well. I don't see drone attacks suddenly happening, because why waste money like that? But yeah, rescue and things like that, it would work, right? Something like passive things like that, yeah, they would probably use it. Right, well, there you go. US Apache went down for some reason. Let's see what information comes out. What was the reason? Technical things happen. Doesn't matter how perfect you make things, technical things can happen. Even the most reliable, remember there was a time even Toyotas had a clutch breaking, brakes failing. There's even a haunting audio of a family inside a Toyota whose brake failed, right? And that's Toyota. So I'm just making a point, like even the most reliable things in the world can fail. So this doesn't surprise me. All right, I'll see you next time.